3 Hymns, 3 Thoughtseizes, 2 Inquisitions. He's got some Swords, he's got some Abrupt Decays, 2 copies of Umazawa's Jit, Tiliana of the Veils, and then he got 3 Deathrite Shamans, which is a pretty easy addition for this deck. So that's what Matthew Cline is doing here.
Well, Darin Minard, whom you might remember from the top 8 of the Standard Open, is here with Blue-White Stoneblade. His list is mostly stock and standard, nothing too unusual. The 1 Disrupt, obviously a little odd. He has 2 Supreme Verdicts as RTR additions to his list, but I think a lot of people have made that kind of change. He's definitely got the ability to attack a little bit more, and he's got a few more counterspells, I think, than most, so it'll be interesting.
Darin making his best attempt at going back-to-back this weekend.
Yeah.
Last weekend we had Justin Up to go back-to-back. Top 8's not back-to-back wins. Jerry Thompson still holds that crown.
Still the only one, yeah.
Still hoping to have that record. But Darin is looking to go back-to-back this weekend, so.
Looks like Matt started on Deathrite Shaman. Not long for this world. Darin quickly Swords to Plowshares the 1/2.
Get that guy right out of here.
Uninterested.
Is that that's a scrub land? We rarely see scrub land.
True, a turn 1 scrub land.
It is rare that we see scrub land on camera.
What do we think that implies about his hand structure? Obviously he needed black.
As it's wastelanded now. Scrubland no more. We don't get to see Scrubland anymore. It's too ugly to have on the camera. So we do see a beautiful Swamp Pit play. Polluted Delta from Darin, kicking it back over to Matt. Any favorite in this matchup to you? Do you think this leans one way or the other?
I honestly am not, trying to think of the good word, experienced enough to make a call one way or another. I think I like the Stoneblade deck in general, but I don't know. What do you think?
I used to play a deck similar to this junk deck many moons ago, around 2008. And I wanted to be paired against blue decks. It was kind of difficult beating a top plus counterbalance that was active. But other than that, you did interact with him pretty favorably. Brainstorm hiding cards is a little bit annoying, but him is still good at just wrecking someone's hand.
Yeah, very good.
So there are definitely some upsides to this. Dark Confidant going unanswered is obviously a benefit. It's not exactly easy to do because of counterspells and Swords to Plowshares, and I don't know if there are any Path Exiles hanging out over there as well. But there are definitely some powerful things going on here with the junk deck, and Deathrite Shaman adds a new element to the deck as well.
Yeah, I do really like the Shaman as it puts more pressure on the swords from Blue-White Stoneblade. Like, you only have so many 1-mana kill whatever you want, as ridiculous as it seems to say.
Yeah.
But that's just true of the deck. You can only do it so many times, and as you add more and more threats that require that sort of answer, it becomes more and more difficult to actually have it every time.
We're going to see a Verdant Catacombs sacked here, putting Matt down to 19. Is he going to search out another scrub land?
Yeah, he's only done twice.
There we are.
He does have another scrub land. You're a savant.
Thank you. I think that was a compliment. It's a big word. I don't know what it means.
Casual 6 letters.
And
Lingering Souls.
Lingering Souls.
It's pretty good against the Vendilion Click. Darin was probably planning to pop down in the end step.
I'm inclined to agree. May have been better off draw stepping that to take care of the Lingering Souls, but I mean, obviously he has like an idea of what he's up against, but he doesn't know the exact configuration of the deck either.
Right. Still goes for it, Vendilion Click. He does have a Sword of Feast and Famine, so he can turn his Vendilion Click into a pretty sweet threat. Problem being that, like, Lingering Soul is obviously going to speed bump him for forever.
Those are 4 very good cards in Matt's hand as well. He can set up getting Dark Confidant into play with him next turn, as we're going to see Lingering Souls get put to the bottom.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of good action. He can also just flash back Lingering Souls next turn too.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we'll see.
No, somebody named him.
I think we're on the flashback Lingering Souls play one of our 2-drops kind of situation here, probably.
Yeah.
Depends on what Darin does, though.
So you see Lingering Souls coming on in. We're going to see a hymn. Yep.
Fine place to start.
Spell
Pierce.
That's
Punishes Matt for holding the land there.
I want to see a Dark Confidant.
If you ordered a pizza, we'd like to give it to you. Please go claim your pizza from the driver. Once again,
Step Brainstorm, trying to dig out of this lack of lands. We failed.
This Brainstorm may be in response to Dark Confidant too. Not entirely sure if that Confidant is resolved yet.
Looks like he's throwing back a Force, is that?
Okay, that's in there.
Dark Confidant's in there. I know there was a Force of Will up there. I think he threw it back. I imagine he's going to play Stoneforge Mystic here to shuffle. No? We're Snapcasting for swords? Okay, that's why we didn't force. That makes a lot of sense. Dark Confidant joining his Elf Shaman friend in the remove from game zone, and Vendilion Click evening the odds on the race.
On that turn, do you prefer, like it's Matt's last turn, it seemed like it was sequenced poorly. You know, would you have played the land first, played on Spell Pierce? Would you have flashback Lingering Souls? Like, what line would you have taken that turn?
I think I want the Confidant in play, but I would have played the land before playing the hymn.
Okay.
Just because, like, once I have 4 lands, basically Spell Pierce won't be doing anything in this game.
Sure.
So I don't need to let my opponent get any value out of it. That said, it did kind of make Darin play a little more inefficiently, where he had to main phase Snapcaster Swords, whereas he could have left that line open during the end step. So there's merit to both, I think. It feels like we just basically got caught by a Spell Pierce when we didn't have to, which I think is in Legacy a general rule of thumb is like, don't let that happen.
Yeah, if you don't have to, yeah, you just don't let it happen. As we see, Lingering Souls getting flashback here from that, and then we're going to see a Deathrite Shaman in addition to that. So
this is looking rough for Stoneblade.
He's doing a very nice job of just consistently adding to the board, and everything that he's adding to the board are relevant cards that he's adding. Like, those Spirit Tokens are quite good right now at trading with Vendilion Click or Snapcaster Mage if he wants to, and then Deathrite Shaman, just an incredible card in Legacy. It does so many different things. We'll see the Force of Will drawn again.
Yep.
I'm a little bit surprised. I guess, yeah, the turn that he Snapcastered made sense, but it seems like it's about time to see that Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Batterskull?
I think we're going to brainstorm first, and then, yeah, we've drawn our Sword of Feast and Famine already.
Okay.
We do have one, but he'll either throw the sword back and get it again, or just go for Batterskull.
Okay. Anyone was Jits hiding in that deck list, or no?
Not in the main deck, one in the sideboard.
Gotcha.
He did just draw a second Stoneforge Mystic, so he has the option to go for everything if he wants, but when you're a little strapped on mana, that's usually not that effective.
Coming across with Snapcaster Mage.
This play makes a reasonable amount of sense. That's one Spirit Token that can't get in Vendilion Click's way at the end of the day, so.
Now we're going to see a Stoneforge Mystic here.
Also worth noting is this locks Matt into a significantly slower clock, right? Because now we'll have to use his Deathrite Shaman every turn in order to be able to muster the 3-turn clock.
Sure.
And that's assuming that Darin doesn't just block a spirit, which he very well might do.
That's going to do something about this Batterskull now too, which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Or more importantly, I mean, the Stoneforge Mystic is the current problem. And he does have an Abrupt Decay in his hand to take care of it.
I imagine something will be happening very abruptly.
You.
Oh, me.
Yeah. Do you write him in your spare time?
No, it's all on the clock, baby. All on the clock. Value. So we're on Jace, Sword of Feast and Famine, Force of Will, and the Batterskull.
You gotta pull the trigger on that Abrupt Decay. There we go.
Pop, pop.
So Batterskull is no longer a threat at this point.
In fact, most of Darin's hand is no longer a threat at this point.
Yeah.
He's just going to very slowly die unless he peels out.
Well, Brainstorm's a good start. That's for sure.
His last two didn't work. Let's see how this one goes.
Yes.
But no land. Another Brainstorm. Still no land. All right. This is looking grim. We did find Supreme Verdict, which is going to be part of this puzzle, but man, this is rough.
He's having some real difficulty here.
I imagine we just have to Stoneforge Mystic again and hope to shuffle our way into a land, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to have to happen. He keeps the Supreme Verdict. Stoneforges, shuffle away, search for something if he has something left, then hope to draw a land.
He at least just put back an equipment in his Brainstorm, yeah.
Okay.
The Batterskull.
So we see Stoneforge being brought back there and shuffling his deck, just desperately searching for a fourth land. I'm assuming, yeah, he did keep the Supreme Verdict too.
Yeah. He's been missing it since basically his opening hand. 3 Brainstorms later, still
no
missing
fourth
it. That's Legacy sometimes, though, you know? Sometimes the land just isn't there. It's been known to happen.
Matt takes a look at his graveyard to check things out because he's going to want to remove something with Deathrite Shaman and prefer to remove something of Darin's than his own.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be a spell. Yeah, a spell pierce.
Knocking Darin down to 10.
Removing the unique spell to avoid Snapcaster Mage, increasing his functionality.
And now Darin is going to block one of these and go down to 8.
Yep.
From the spirit tokens.
Blocking in order to keep himself from getting put on a 2-turn clock.
Yep. Now what are we going to see here? We're going to see a Scavenging Ooze.
Another big one.
He's pretty all in on Darin not drawing the 4th land here. It's got to be a second white source too, and it is.
It is. Misty Rainforest will do the trick.
So he faded that 4th land for quite a while, but just wasn't able to take advantage of it. And, I mean, it's kind of a, we'll never know what the him would have hit,
Yeah.
you know, from about 4 turns ago, and how it would have affected this game. So you see another Tundra come in, moving Darin down to 6, I believe, no, 7. Okay. And now we're going to see a verdict.
A supreme verdict, in fact. Verdict is all your creatures are dead. that's the verdict.
You're going to get an activation out of Deathrite Shaman, puts you to 5. But now Matt has to fade quite a few things now, because I'm fairly sure Darin has a Jace in his hand too, correct?
He definitely did, unless he brainstormed it away. He had a Jace.
I know there's a Batter Skull.
And I know Matt's hand is another land.
Yeah.
So he's going to go ahead and get one of those out of the deck.
He's going
Hope to draw some action.
Yeah, activate Scavenging Ooze twice here just to get some life back.
And remove some of Darin's snapcasting options.
Yeah.
I think we're probably just going to get... we can't get all the brainstorms, so there's not much value in that. It's debatable whether it's worthwhile to get the creatures. The life is obviously like some value, but...
Yeah, but not really a ton right now.
Not much. So we're going to get 2 of the brainstorms. We'll leave him with 1. Everybody else is dead.
Alright, what do we draw?
We do still have that Jace. Inquisition of Kozilek, that's going to reveal the bad news.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to reveal the best cards that you can't hit.
Yeah. Well, I got this Jace, and I got this Batter Skull, and I guess you can have my 4th Brainstorm or my sword. I don't have a creature, so that's not that useful. My go?
Yeah.
I think the sword is reasonable to take there.
5th land. I think you just windmill slam the Batter Skull this turn,
You think?
personally.
I think Jace is fine. Your
Okay.
opponent has nothing.
I mean, if you want to just Fate Seal him, because
Yeah.
you don't think he has anything, that's fine.
That's one reason Matt should have probably considered keeping his fetch land on the last turn, like thinning the deck of 1 land and getting to remove a superfluous Brainstorm versus being able to dodge getting Fate Sealed for a turn.
Sure.
So it's a real value. Batter Skull. This thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to go Fate Sealing with Jace again.
Yep. Seems like a good line here.
Make sure he bricks for the rest of the game and let Batter Skull take it home.
Ooh. So what are we thinking we bottomed here? We just bottomed one. What could it be?
Looking through the deck list. Lingering Souls potentially. No, actually both of those are gone. Liliana of the Veil. Nope, there's Lingering Souls left in the deck. I take it back. Yeah, because you've been doing include the other one. So Lingering Souls, Liliana of the Veil.
I think Liliana, Deathrite Shaman, and maybe Knight of the Reliquary are like the contenders. Everything else seems like not very important.
Yeah. And now Batter Skull is taking it over, as we've seen many, many times in these Legacy Opens.
Batter Skull and Jace, man. Can you imagine if there was like a standard format where these cards were allowed out together? Like
That would be awful.
that's the nice thing about Legacy. You get to see combinations of powerful cards that would be
You would otherwise
just too good to allow.
Yeah,
into
that
a
you would
standard
otherwise
format.
not see, because it would be ridiculous to have this be legal in a standard format.
Yep.
That wouldn't be fun for anyone.
No,
I don't
definitely.
think, right?
Definitely just completely ridiculous.
Imagine
power
if
level.
Stoneforge was in there too. Ugh.
Ugh. I'm glad that they spaced these out. Made sure we could only get them in the format of Champions Legacy.
So we're at the end of the draw step for Darin. He's going to check out Matt's hand with a Vendilion Click, see 2 lands and a Source of Plowshares. He's just going to let him keep them. Go ahead, swords me away, man. I don't mind. As Darin does draw a Force of Will for the turn. Going to play his Flooded Strand.
Playing lands now.
Probably going to fire up that factory and say, let's get the beatdowns going. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's a lot of damage.
What would you like to sword, sir? What would you like me to force of will? Racking his brain. What am I going to do here? He let me keep the swords? He really let me keep it? I guess he's going to let me cast it on something. Can I sword your Jace? Is that okay?
This is definitely trying to find the
better,
something to do.
Yeah, better off just not swordsing at all and saying, you know what, let's try again next game.
Well, while these guys sideboard, we can turn to Twitter. A good play suggestion from Sean Thielman was when your opponent cracks that the fetch land, generally representing Lingering Souls, that might be the spot where you're trying to you go to cast your Vendilion Click. Because there aren't a lot of cards you can do that cost 3 mana, but all of them are good.
Sure.
So if you want to strip one in response to a fetch land on turn 3, it's probably a good time.
Yeah, that's legit, actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I like that points out. That might be better than just draw stepping it blind, when you know there's probably a good 3 coming. Obviously, you run the risk of just, Bayou into whatever, but yeah, these things happen.
I agree with that. That's actually a very good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
So Darin up a game on his trek back to another top 8 this weekend. Matt Cline trying to stop him. I have Matt's deck listed in front of me. As far as things that he's going to want to consider bringing in, there are 2 Duress in his sideboard, which are reasonable cards to attempt to bring in, along with a 3rd Lingering Souls, an additional Abrupt Decay. Gaddock Teague, is that good here?
I'm not really feeling the Gaddock Teague. I imagine Darin probably bringing out Force of Will, right? Like, you don't really want that against a deck trying to him you already.
Yeah, I don't want any part of Force of Will here.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get that value out of the Gaddock Teague. And beyond that, all you're stopping is Jason's Supreme Verdict, really. I mean, maybe, like, the particularly unlucky Batterskull, but, yeah, I don't know about Gaddock Teague. He doesn't influence the board enough is one of the issues, and with 4 Snapcaster Mage in Darin's deck, he's not, like, an actual threat on the board at all. The Snapcasters just eat him. So,
in addition to all the spot removal that he probably has as well. An Oblivion Ring, which is meh, Path to Exile, meh, and then like a Sylvan Library, which I would want to bring in. That's the kind of card that you want against this deck. Surprised to see that hanging out in the sideboard. Seems like more of a main deck or no deck card to me, but that's just my opinion. Other than that, though, I mean, he doesn't have anything that he's going to sideboard in that sways the matchup drastically. And it's just like in your face good against a blue-white Stoneblade deck.
He's just going to shift himself into a slightly better position than he was before.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all that he can do.
Well, over on this side, Darin, mostly in a similar boat, not a lot of game changers. I guess like one thing you could do is bring in Geist. I think that's more for the mirror, but if your plan is to just kill all your opponent's guys, having a hexproof guy against a deck that is filled with spot removal isn't the worst. That said, there are a lot of brick walls in the junk deck, right? Like Scavenging Ooze, Knight of the Reliquary, Tarmogoyf, Lingering Souls even to some extent. All of those cards are problematic for a Geist, so it would be a little aggressive. I probably wouldn't do it on the draw. I might consider it on the play.
Sure, try to steal one that way.
Yeah. Beyond that, he has access to Disenchants, Path to Exiles. Crucible of Worlds actually could be a pretty reasonable one, I think. You can Wasteland lock out the junk deck relatively reasonably, and it also lets you dodge your the hymns on your lands a little bit.
Yeah, the junk deck only has 2 basics, 1 plains, 1 swamp, so that is actually a fairly reasonable plan.
And I think that's pretty much it. He doesn't necessarily know his opponent's list. I think it's safe to assume that our opponent's not on Stoneforge Mystic. That said, a lot of junk decks do play Stoneforge Mystic, so he might hedge and bring in like 1 Disenchant to have available for his Snapcaster Mage or something like that.
Okay.
I've seen crazier things.
Still thinking it favors Blue-White Stoneblade?
I wasn't sure the whole time. I like the Blue-White Stoneblade deck in general just better.
Okay.
And I'm not familiar with the junk deck. After watching that first game, I think the matchup probably favors the junk deck. It felt like Deathrite Shaman really did a lot of work, gives you what you want in the matchup, and Darin was under a ton of pressure if his opponent had played more conservatively to avoid getting Supreme Verdicted.
Sure.
Like, you'll note that Matt's play was excellent, generally speaking, if you assume your opponent could have Terminus at worst, because all Darin could do is like Brainstorm to set up a Terminus, and since he hadn't done that after 2 Brainstorms, Matt knows my opponent doesn't have Terminus, and if you're not thinking about Supreme Verdict, then you feel like you're pretty free and clear against sweepers at that point. So he definitely got bit by the Supreme Verdict. I doubt he'll make the same mistake, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take 2 down.
I mean, it gets him in a tough spot too, because if he doesn't extend it a Supreme Verdict where he put himself on a 3-turn clock, then you're giving your opponent more turns that way, and then it gives your opponent time to basically draw out of his mana issues with Jace the Mind Sculptor, with Batterskull, with the things that are available in their decks. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, really.
Sure, I agree with that. In that particular situation, I don't think Scavenging Ooze added a lot to our game.
That I definitely agree with.
And we could have held back on that guy. I don't know if it would have, been enough to win that game, but the fact that Jace came down and there was just literally nothing Matt could do to even threaten it, that's not good for Jace in general. You really just can't let Jace go unmolested for more than a turn or two.
Yeah, the game's on that. Jace ends games quicker than any card in the format.
That's very true. Another question from Twitter from Catherine. I couldn't possibly pronounce that correctly, but I'll go with it. Zacic. I'm guessing that's it.
Okay.
I skipped a vowel in there because it felt right. But Catherine wants to know where we get our sweet purple spirit tokens. Those were actually designed by graphic designer Liz Nugent, our head graphic designer in-house. You can see all of her work on the website because she helps build it. But
sure.
Yeah,
She's
those
busy gal.
tokens are included with orders from our website. We randomly insert them as long as we have them. I believe we have them right now. I know that we won't have them forever. We run out fast.
That doesn't surprise me. They are nice tokens.
They're nice. A lot of people, have bothered us to wish they could buy them somewhere, but it's a free giveaway. We include them as random inserts. You gotta collect them all. There's some sweet ones. I'm a big fan of, especially our new Angel token, which we've also been showing off this weekend.
I saw that one with Geist, obviously.
Yep.
That one's very nice.
It's very nice. That one was done by Kristen Pleskow, our secondary graphic designer.
She's in-house as well?
Also in-house, yep. I said Plesko, didn't I?
You said Pleskow.
Oh, my bad.
Apologize.
Well, it is Plesko. I never apologize. I'm going to refuse. Won't back down.
That's a great movie, by the way. Never back down.
I'll have to take your word for it.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Nope,
I haven't, but I've heard word. I've heard that it's
That's a great movie. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's
quite the thriller.
Quite the thriller.
As Matt's going to take him Mulligan down to 6. I think Channing Tatum's in that one. And let me tell you, he can act. Have you seen G.I. Joe?
People give Channing Tatum a tough time of it.
As they should, because he's a terrible actor.
But you know what? I find him pretty fun to watch, and also I think the best job in the world is to be Channing Tatum's agent. Because Channing doesn't say no to anything. Like, if you look at that guy's all that agent has to do is say, hey, Channing, do this. I want to make 10%. He's like, yeah, man, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah, what do we got?
Look at the range of this guy's stuff, We've got the Vow. We've got the, 21 Jump Street?
Yep.
We've got Step Up. Like, man, this guy's
G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe, he'll do anything. Literally anything.
Magical Michael.
Magic Mike. If you have 120 pages in a paperclip, you've got Channing Tatum. Ding. And we're back to the match with the Windswept Teeth.
After 19.
My Channing Tatum rant.
One of your better rants, actually.
I know. I'm not kidding. That probably does have to be the best job, to be his agent. You make so much money and you have to do nothing. Literally display no sense of selection or...
Deathrite Shaman into play. We're going to try to keep a magic focus, even though it's very, very true.
It's so difficult. Now we're all just wondering, man, that does sound awesome.
I'm going to go Wikipedia.
Scrubland again.
I'm going to go Wikipedia's page and see what he's done. More like what he hasn't done.
What he hasn't done. Tarmogoyf after Deathrite Shaman. I think we might see a little 1-2 sliding into the red zone here.
Is that okay?
Or do we have another play?
Is Tarmogoyf okay? And for 1.
1, all right.
I think Darin has the Disrupt in his hand. I think. I'm not positive.
Think he has the Disrupt? Oh, I'm so excited.
You're going to read him. You're going to take a long time to read him because he does a lot of things.
He does do a lot of things. He's got 3 abilities.
Here, you take the 1-2 die. I don't want it. You take it.
There's a little confusion over where we want to place that.
Keep sliding over there. Encroachment. All right. Darin, let's Tarmogoyf resolve. We are going to draw a card. 1-2 die is looking for a home on the table.
Note that we we have a Thoughtseize in our hand on Matt's end, and he decided he would rather keep his Tarmogoyf at 1-2. Doesn't want to try and turn 2 Thoughtseize, potentially preventing a Stoneforge missing. Oh, it's a Stoneforge missing!
Well, looks like we might be taking a battle school with that Thoughtseize.
Yeah, I think we're going to play our Thoughtseize next turn, now that our opponent is searched out. We gave him the free Squire, but we're going to take away the cheap, giant, lifelinking creature.
And I like not casting Maidslayer, or not casting Thoughtseize that turn. He doesn't know he has Disrupt, but he could run into a Spell Pierce. There's no reason to do that. Or, I mean, for some reason, Darin has Daze.
Yeah.
which, you know, unlikely that he does, but, you know, just
I
no
like
reason.
the line. It demonstrates that, you know, he's thinking through his plays, not just jamming the spells he can cast, which is always good, especially in Legacy where that usually gets you killed.
Let me see that hand.
Here's our Thoughtseize. Looks like we have 2 lands on neither Reliquary for the rest of our hand, so after we see that we can resolve neither Reliquary, we might just go for that as well.
There's the disrupt.
Ooh, Darin's hand is pretty weak. He does have 2 pieces of equipment, at least to go with his Stoneforge Mystic. You're right about that Disrupt, but he has no answer to neither the Reliquary, so I imagine that's going to be Matt's next play. Surgical Extraction from Darin, brought in from the sideboard. What are we surgical extracting? Lingering Souls?
Lingering Souls, I think, is one.
If he knew that his opponent only had 2 copies, he probably would not have brought in that surgical extraction, right? Well, 3, I guess, post-board.
Yeah, 3rd after sideboard, but I definitely agree with you. If he knew he was only starting 2, it's pretty safe to assume where he drew both copies game 1. He was like, yeah, this guy probably has 4 Lingering Souls in his deck. That's pretty frustrating for my deck to try to beat.
I guess we're considering what we want to take here. I'm sure Matt's actually thinking, man, I get to take one of these? Like, none of these are any good. we'll get rid of that Batter Skull.
Yeah, I'm fairly happy taking Batter Skull.
Yeah, the Batter Skull is the clear pick. Just all the cards. He's got to be pretty excited, I think, about that card.
Getting rid of that for the rest of the game. Tarmogoyf coming in now as a 3/4 because of Sorcery Artifact and land.
And post-combat, we'll be dropping down neither Reliquary, shrinking our Tarmogoyf slightly.
Also shrinking his Neither Reliquary a little bit, which is a strange interaction, unfortunately. And now he's backing off it a little bit now. Huh. You have to cast Knight.
Knight just seems far and away the best thing we could be casting right here, right?
He's gonna surgical his land.
Oh, he's wow.
Wow.
Darin with the Stone Reed here.
I'm blown away.
That's actually pretty sick. And imagine if that Marsh Flats was a Windswept Heath too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man, Darin has successfully staved off neither Reliquary for the turn in a spot where I don't think a lot of people would pull the trigger.
Yeah, we're going to Surgical Extraction up on the screen because a lot of people at home that may not know this, and I feel like I just become aware that you can't actually remove a non-basic land with that card.
Yep. It's actually been an integral part of Legacy for a little while because Rug decks started splashing in additional duels in order to avoid being completely taken off green mana when their tropical islands get removed. That said, I don't really like that idea. I think that it's a pretty hijinky thing to have done to you, and I don't know how relevant it is, but...
Kind of a beat in that turn.
Note that Matt might have been able to dodge this precise thing occurring if he just started by activating the Deathrite Shaman, but knowing what your opponent has in hand, you definitely don't want to do that. You might just want to be passing if you expect your Knight to get countered in some fashion.
Yeah.
For example, if your opponent did have a Daze, which you wouldn't conventionally expect, but very well could have to beat. And then you'd be losing a lot of value on the Deathrite Shaman, RFGing something, getting a little value.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good play there by Darin too, because by delaying the Night of the Reliquary one turn, that's one turn later that Wastelands are going to start coming online to attack its mana base.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was a very, very nice play. Let's see if you can take advantage of it now.
The best part is that the surgical also lets you show that you got paid. You're like, oh, yeah, he did have it. I knew it. I knew it.
I was right. I knew it all along. Vindicated.
It's a good feeling.
So Darin just passes back. Matt knows the contents of his hand outside of one mystery card. The mystery card that he drew for the turn was a Stoneforge Mystic. So Matt can play accordingly, or play to his best of his ability based on what is in Darin's hand. We should see a Knight coming down.
I imagine we'll see neither Reliquary, and we'll probably also see the Dark Confidant he just drew entering play. That seems better than a variety of our other options.
Oh, don't forget to sack that land now.
Yeah, if we're gonna play our Dark Confidant, we should play. Ooh, no. Oh, Tarmogoyf in. We're not playing the Dark Confidant. Maybe it's not a Dark Confidant. I thought it was, but maybe it's not.
Brainstorm was Jit. Brainstorm drawn for the turn for Darin.
I suppose it's theoretically possibly held it to protect it from, a Suicide Stoneforge Jitte, but I think that play would even be fine for us. It's not that bad.
We'll see Polluted Delta, Mishra's Factory, and Swords of Plowshares drawn here for Darin, so he's getting himself back into this game.
I imagine we'll be chucking that Disrupt. It's not really paid off for us today. shipping it back into the deck.
Yeah, it's time to go, Disrupt. And with it gone, it is something that Matt still has to at least respect a little bit and
Sure.
continue to play around.
I'd be pretty impressed if he just, had the read on his opponent. Throwing the Disrupt away on the Brainstorm, like, was 100% sure, doesn't care, taps out. This.
Yeah, jams an awesome spell right into it. Now we're going up to a 4/5. Deck back to Darin. And we're going to see Swords Plowshares on that reliquary.
Yep.
And now Stormforged Mystic plus Unzawa's Jit are about to get to work.
Yep, that's definitely just a huge play. I hope Matt's last card isn't Dark Confidant because then he might have a card that could do something right now.
Yeah. I'm going to sack that land now. Should have sacked that land last turn to get
Just to
another
gain a
point
life,
with
yeah.
Should have sacked the land last turn to get another point in with Tarmogoyf.
I agree. Put Darin on 9. Picking up the Jitte. I don't think we can block with our Death Threat Shaman here.
I don't think so either.
We have to make him burn both counters.
Is he going to block here? Wow.
Yep.
Truly surprised by a block there. I think you just take the 1.
I agree. The thing is, like, by letting him keep a counter, the 2 life you even just did is completely negated.
Yeah.
You might as well have just taken 1. I'm pretty sure you would have had to kill the Death Threat Shaman anyway. Nice drop it on Stoneforge. At this point, we're just rubbing it in, right?
Yeah. Wherever the die can go, it will go.
Liliana the Veil was the card we had, not Dark Confidant. I think
Okay.
we do have a Dark Confidant now, for what it's worth. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was Dark Confidant. Maybe he's making me question my world. Liliana the Veil is a nice card to have here. If our opponent lacks a 5th land, they won't even be able to get more counters on that Jitte.
Is that okay?
This thing.
Yeah.
We're going to attack before we use any of Liliana's effects. Unsurprisingly, Stoneforged Mystic gone. Darin on 3 life. Could have been 2.
Kind of wishing it was 2.
Yep. 2 seems like a much better number in this particular matchup, especially with Death Red Shaman changing around a lot of that math. And we could be on 18, and that Jitte could be empty too. That would be nice.
Alright, so let's see what he can do. I mean, Jace is an option, and Jace is the option he's going to take.
Yeah, Jace seems like a pretty good option. Jace, bounce the Tarmogoyf. Yeah.
Let's see what Matt can draw here.
He's definitely got potential.
He's got a lot of good draws right now. Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, a mystery card in his hand.
Yeah. Looks like maybe a news, maybe another Confidant. Another Confidant, I think. So what's our line? We can just go Confidant, but then we're dead to a 5th land.
Yeah. Which
So that's probably
Jace
not
will,
good.
Which Jace will likely find.
Yeah. I think we probably just have to go like Bob Confidant, but then do we have plus our Liliana because we lose our last card in hand?
And Darin's hand right now is... It does. I mean, truthfully, Darin will find something to discard
Yeah.
to Liliana because he does have Jace working right now too. So.
I'm pretty sure we must be kicking ourselves over that Jitte counter at this point. Just
Yeah.
thinking, man, I really wish I was at 18 instead of facing down a single. It was always
Yeah,
Jitte
so,
counter.
yeah, an annoying J counter to take care of my Bob.
How much life would you pay to remove that Jitte counter from the board right now if you're Matt?
17.
17.
I'd go to 2.
That's aggressive.
I'd
I
go
would
to 2.
definitely pay 5 at a min. 5's my starting bid on that Jitte counter. It's that high impact in this game.
Yeah, 18. I'd pay
18?
I'd pay 18.
But our Bob is a lot worse on 18 on one line.
No gamble, no future.
That's fair.
So you see Jace brainstorming away now. Counterspell, Wasteland, and I believe that's a Vendilion Click is the 3rd card. Spell Pierce looks like it's going away.
I think Darin has probably successfully stymied Matt at this point. untapped, in a position of brains.
One of the things about this junk deck is that once you're able to get Jace into play on an basically an even board, you can even be a little behind because Jace is obviously very good at catching you up. That's when things get bad for the junk deck, because a junk deck doesn't have a card that's even close in quality to Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of decks, of course, don't have a card that's close in quality to Jace, but these junk decks, especially in black, green, and white, they don't have anything that's close to what Jace can do and recoup and get the cards back that they've used in the game.
I think the actual biggest problem is that specifically the best cards in the deck are actually actively bad against Jace, considering the power of the Unsummoned. Knight of the Reliquary, Tarmogoyf, like these are the cards you're trying to use to win the game, and they're just actually the worst kind of cards you can be using to threaten a Jace because they don't do it very well.
Yeah. Here I come. Is that okay? Please tell me it's okay.
Please let me attack.
Attack your
Vendilion
Jace.
Click for the chump block, perhaps?
Hiya. Venser. The card that he knew about.
Venser. Oh, yeah, okay. Boing. Venser's going to probably be picking up Chite. Note that we didn't boost our Liliana last turn. We held on to a card, and that means that we can't use Liliana's Nag 2 to get rid of one of our opponent's 2 creatures.
5 more players for a standard Winterbox or a modern Winterbox. Also, if you finish this round with a record of X,
I think we just have to play Tarmogoyf. And we still can't play our Great Confidant.
Come on up to the main stage if you get that taken care of, so you don't have to do that after the end of the event. So if you're X and 1 or better and have not filled out tax paperwork, come on up to the main event stage and you can get you taken care of.
Just looking grim for Matt Cline.
Yeah, he's just behind. He's locked. He's been playing the same turn actually for the last several turns, while his opponent has, been choosing new game actions. in general, the opponent who plays new game actions, not the opponent trapped in IRL Groundhog Day, is going to be the one who wins the game. Yep, Tarmogoyf unsurprisingly back in the hand. We're going to equip Chite to Venser. Once this Venser connects, he will actually be too big to get blocked by Tarmogoyf.
He can't be stopped.
Tarmogoyf will no longer matter. He will cease to be relevant in the game.
You can't stop the rock.
We did bring in the Disenchant. If you look on Darin's side, he has a Tempest Disenchant, the best Disenchant, says Hana, getting a Metallic Sliver in the art. Nope, we're going to just counterspell Tarmogoyf this time. It's a bold move.
At this point, Darin's just like, I pretty much got this one sealed up. I might be at 2, but that ain't 0. And he's just going to start casting his spells now. Jit's going to go to work. Fate Sealing going to go to work here on Matt's library, and it's all over but the handshake at this point, which is unfortunate because I feel like Matt had a chance to win both of these games.
Yep, I think that it was they were both tough games. I think Darin played pretty well in this one. I think his choices were fine in the first one, although maybe we could have Vendilion clicked a little better, although I don't think it actually affected the outcome really. But beyond that, yeah, it was just tight matches. Misstep one way, a choice another way.
But again, the thing with these blue-white decks is you can't make the small mistakes against these decks. You can't run your Hymn to Torak into a Spell Pierce when you have a land, or what other subtle mistakes were made these games. Because this is the kind of deck where you have to take advantage of every opportunity you have, because their cards are so much better than your cards. They're just playing a more unfair game of Magic than you. Yeah.
Vendilion Click, I imagine we'll be seeing the keep 'em.
Yeah, you can have them, my friend.
Did we increase a Chite afterwards? I don't know. Maybe he declared the trigger, but didn't actually affect the die or something like that. I assume these kids know what's going on down there.
Now you're facing off against 4 of the best cards in Magic history.
Yep.
Venture Shaper Savant, Unwasawa's Jit, Vendilion Click, and Jace the Mind Sculptor.
I don't know. One of these things is not like the other. I thought we were talking about Tundra.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Venser, one of the best cards in Magic's history.
That card is responsible for a Pro Tour win.
That card is very good. Lots of cards are responsible for Pro Tour wins. Virulent Sliver is responsible.